from the grassroots level. Yes.
You've mentioned a bit about the right press, and how much of a role do you think the press or the radio stations and stuff can play in this attempt to create a new kind of dynamic?
Well, enormous, and that's one that I'm working on. Since or the question is, the media. How much of a role can progressive radio stations and media generally play in trying to get this movement together? I think it's essential, but they also have to get connected, and that is the message that I've been hammering with them. And Katrina vanden Heuvel, who's editor of the Nation, Rothschild, who's the Matt Rothschild at the Progressive, Jay Harris at Mother Jones, and others I've been talking to about this, to say that we need some sort of an agreement. I mean, of course, our side are very independent, very liberal, very so we don't do knee-jerk, lockstep kind of stuff. So to say to somebody, you need to do this article, well, that's not going to work. But we have such a network available to us. We have all these public interest groups where I get much of my material, located in Washington and local places all across the country, producing tremendous information, credible, good stories, rich material that never sees the lights of day. They put it out in some report and it just dies. It seems to me we need some sort of a coordinated effort that would take one of those issues, one of those good reports, a week, and distribute that, but also have had some conversations with the radio stations, the independent weeklies, the blog, the major bloggers, the rest of the Free Speech TV, Amy Goodman, etc., and say, okay, once a week we're going to send you something. And we're going to attach with that some local aspect to it that might work for you. And then you cover it as you want to. Or maybe you would choose not to do it that week. But somewhere down the road, you try to take a half a dozen of those so that we get a big issue like this that then has what they call an echo chamber that actually goes out. The right wing does that very effectively, and just, in monotone, just you march, you go there, and you do that. We don't do that, and we can't do that, but we can at least have a little bit more coordination, a little more cooperation, nothing too extreme, but some step toward a movement. And it would make a huge difference. And I think I'll just say there's all of the people I've talked to are very receptive to this, and they also have some notion of being able to get a little money together and have, because you got to have a small staff that can make that happen, because everybody's too busy to do it on their own. But I think that's a step, and it's very important that you raise that question, because it's very important that the media do that, because when the media begins to do it, then it helps the local people begin to go back.
Yeah. Returning to the theme of theft, how is it we're going to get habeas corpus back?
Well, by this very movement we're talking about, no one thing is going to come our way. No one issue. I mean, you could raise any single issue there that Obama and the Democrats have fumbled, let's say. Let's just start with those. How are we going to get that done? Well, you're not going to get it done by that issue. You're going to get it done by building this movement so that people who know about habeas corpus and care about habeas corpus can explain to other people why they care about habeas corpus. And then you link them up because you're also talking about their issue and why they should even listen to you. And so unless we have that communication and that trust among each other, you're not going to do it.
I'm a visitor here. I'm from the D.C. area. And
it's okay. I lived there for 10 years. She's from Washington, D.C.
And I'm a progressive and have been. I was there at the founding of the Progressive Democrats of America. You spoke at UDC. And the thing that I get really frustrated here in New Mexico is that when I listen to the radio, it's usually music, even KSFR. And I'm a big National Public Radio supporter. They do a lot good word. And I just feel as though there's, I mean, I believe it's important to be independent, but I think there's such a lack of knowledge of what's really going out, what's going on over the other part of the world. For example, I'm renting a house here. I rented a house in Taos for 2 months, and I've rented a house here. And, I'm at the mercy of what they have on the television. And because most people are very cheap, they just get the very cheapest DirecTV or whatever. And the very cheapest, they get Fox News. The second cheapest is Fox News and ABC&N. But the MSNBC is very expensive. So it means that, when they say Fox is the most widely watched television in the United States, it's because they're cheap. And so the mass public, is being brainwashed by Fox News.
Okay. She's concerned because the local news anywhere, she's talking particularly about television, is the cheapest level of television cable or television coverage, I guess, or reception, includes Fox News. But it's a much higher level to be able to get MSNBC, say, which is where Rachel Maddow and Keith Olbermann are. And that why is this? Well, it's because the right wing understands what the media is about. The media is about communication and getting your message out. Our side, our money people, don't understand that. That's why Air America went down. Air America went down not because it didn't have listeners, not because they didn't even have advertisers. It did. It went down because the money people demanded that it make a profit. Fox News didn't make a profit for like 10 years. The Reverend Moon's newspaper, Washington Times in New York, lost billions of dollars. They don't care. They lose money. They got money. They don't care. Our side wants to make a profit, not because they particularly want to get reimbursed for it, but because they think that makes it legitimate. We're making a profit, so we're legitimate. That's not the way it works. The Texas Observer, Molly Ivins, I followed her as editor there, one of the great publications in the country, has never made money. It's always depended on its subscribers and its supporters to contribute to it.
But the radio in New Mexico.
All right, the radio in New Mexico, and she's upset because some of it's it's got too much music and not pointed enough. I don't know, but two things. One, get involved in the station, make a difference. Two, we need music. Music is very radical. Steve Earle is about as radical as you're going to get. Ani DeFranco, you name them. I mean, music is very radical. That didn't mean the particular shows that you're talking about are that radical, but again, it's like beer and wine. It's like have music, have laughter, have fun. You want people to come in, and then you get them. I talked to Pete Seeger once about something called the Chautauquas that we were trying to do a thing we call the Rolling Thunder Down Home Democracy Tour, and we did it across the country. It's pretty good. But he explained that he, in the 1920s, went to the Chautauquas that were still surviving at that point. And these were originally church events. Chautauqua, New York was the first one, the town of Chautauqua. And the Chautauqua at Boulder, Colorado still exists. It's a camp. So they would have these camps 3 or 4 weeks in the summer, and musicians would come and lectures, and they would put on plays, and they would have picnics and all that. So people came. There was no radio, no TV. And Pete said, I went for the music and the girls. And then I got to listen to the speeches. And so I think that's important for us to realize. And if you're not happy enough with what's going on, then plug into KSFR and get involved. It is a volunteer organization.